The first time I heard about Emmett Till, I was in middle school in Wisconsin. The story of his gruesome murder, which helped ignite the civil rights movement in the 60s, stuck with me. Fast forward to 2009. I had moved to Chicago and was pursuing a degree in filmmaking. I was starting a documentary about Back of the Yards, a neighborhood on Chicago's South Side. In July of 2009, a disturbing story broke the news. Burr Oak Cemetery, a historic African-American cemetery where Emmett Till was buried, was under investigation. As it turned out, between 200 and 300 bodies were dug up and dumped in a mass grave at one corner of the cemetery. After the news broke, family members from across the country came to check the status of their loved ones' graves. Some never had any luck. After graduating from college, I met Ed Boone, who had a number of family members buried at the cemetery. We are currently working together to craft a documentary film about the historical importance of the cemetery, the scandal in 2009, and how families have coped since, despite dealing with both the impact of their loved ones' graves being desecrated and also a long and tedious legal battle. Our goal for this film is to open up a larger dialogue about cultural preservation, why it's important, and what's at stake if it's not respected. Please enjoy some clips from our recent interview with Ed.
I thought it was very unusual that my mother's concrete container, it was about this high from the surface. And I asked the staff, the grave diggers at the time, would they be lowering the casket any lower? And they said, no, that's as far as it goes. And I said, no, I've been to a lot of funerals and burials, and I've seen the depth of them. And I asked, are you sure no one's buried underneath her? And they said, no, we don't do that. I think the way it worked was they would pull up the remains, take them to the rear of the cemetery, crush the caskets, crush the headstones, bury the remains in a mass grave in the rear of the cemetery, and sell the plot to a new family. But I recall one day after the scandal had broken, I was visiting my mother's grave site, and not far from her there was a service going on, an actual funeral, and this was after the scandal. There was a discovery that it was a double stack, and the sheriff department converged on the site immediately because it was actually during a funeral service that they actually discovered there was someone buried underneath where this actual service was taking place. And to be there and to actually, see this taking place, and I was like, gosh, it's still good. They're still finding remains in double stacks. And after I visit the grave sites of my parents, I came back to the entrance of the cemetery, and I just sat down. I sat down on the curb, and I just watched as the throngs of people just walk back and forth, and just looking around. And I sat there and I cried. Well, after the sheriff's department's investigation, so many families had filed lawsuits. So over 500 families, individuals filing lawsuits after lawsuits. The owner of the cemetery, Perpetual Holdings, immediately filed for bankruptcy in order to avert paying large sums of settlements. There was a settlement reached where each individual who could prove they had a loved one buried at Burr Oak Cemetery would receive $100.
Do you think that's fair? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
No, it's not fair, because we've actually had problems with that. The date of the notice for the individuals to file their claims for the settlement was a very short window of opportunities for those families. I was the only individual in my family of my 6 siblings who were able to get the necessary documents in and to file a complaint in the necessary time period. It was a very short window. So my siblings, and I'm sure a lot of other individuals, will not be able to receive any financial reward from it.
Our next steps for this project are to interview historical experts, community leaders, and people who have a personal tie with the cemetery. With your donation, we can help hire a local film crew, train CPS students to be interns, purchase and license archival material, and cover other production costs. We're really lucky in that we're fiscally sponsored by Fractured Atlas, which is a charitable organization, so your donations to our project are tax deductible. Please feel free to check out burrowoakfilm.com to get some more information about the status of this project. So thanks so much for your consideration, and don't forget to share us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks.